Okay. Can you tell from the dimensions that it's a 45, 45, 90? Okay, but what if you weren't sure? What could you do? Yeah, so 180 divided by 4 is 45. Just in case, you didn't trust yourself for a second, but you should. Okay, next question is, does anybody remember the dimensions of a 45, 45, 90?
Yeah.
Nice. Root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2, and 1. Okay, last thing, quadrant 3. What do we do with quadrant 3? Negative, negative. Okay, tangent is y over x. This one is the one that's y. This one is the one that's x. And you don't have to worry about anything because when you divide something by itself, it is 1. So everything cancels, which is great. Okay, now find number 14. It's our last trig wave for a while. Aren't you excited? Okay, number 14. A is negative 4. B is 1/2. Period is 2 pi divided by 1/2. 2 pi divided by 1/2 is 4 pi. Great. And 4 pi is how many boxes on this graph paper? Perfect. Boxes are big on this one. That's going to end up looking nice. Whenever the boxes are bigger, the wave ends up looking better, I think. I hope. Okay, h is positive pi over 2. Remember to switch the sign. And k is positive 1. Okay, so I'm going to go to positive 1 for the midline. And then amplitude is 4, so up 4 and down 4. Nice. Locator point for sine is hk, which is pi over 2, 1. Just a quick reality check. Does it make sense that it's on the midline for sine? Yes. Okay. 8 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Okay, so there's my general shape of negative sine. I graphed the starting dot and the ending dot. And the middle dot is also on the midline. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. 4 from either side. And then in between those two, it hits the bottom line, and in between these two, it hits the top line. And this is why it's going to end up looking nice. Mm-hmm. That satisfying. Oh no. I didn't circle the number 14 though. Okay, we're done in the packet. Go ahead and set that aside. Grab your notebook. French is popular. Thank you. Okay, if you're doing a spring break countdown, which I'm doing, we're doing 6 problems today. What I mean by that is 94 has 5 parts and 95 has 1 part. Yeah, A, B, C, D, E, and then 95. I figured you would want to count that down as we were going because it's fun. There is not, it's not too spicy until we get to E and 95. E and 95 are spicy. I'm just gonna tell you right now, like, it's not ghost pepper level, but it's like a jalapeno situation. You're gonna walk out of here going, man, Mrs. Saba left us off on some really spicy problems for spring break. And it's true, I did. But there's only 3 homework questions, it's not a big deal. We'll have a less spicy one than spicy ones. Does that help? Also, Mrs. Talbot and Miss Rice are getting Wingstop for lunch. That's what matters. But we did not get spicy. We got lemon pepper because lemon pepper is my favorite. Okay. Anyway. Yes, dear. No. Okay. No, I haven't gone there yet, so we'll see. Okay. Only a few people know that story. All right. So today is a mixed review of arithmetics and geometrics. So we kind of have to look at the problem, see if it's arithmetic, see if it's geometric. If it's a summation notation like these guys, the question is asking you to find the sum. So we have to use the correct formula, plug in the stuff. These two, A has a little bit of a twist to it. B and D are easy. C is going to take an extra step, and then E and 95 are they're just a new level. Okay. So starting with just the regular for 94, can you tell that it's geometric? So very base question. So can you tell that A is geometric and B is arithmetic? Okay, so geometrics look like A, B to the X. And arithmetics, okay, this one looks weird, but if you distributed the 4 and combined like terms, it would be mx plus b. So basically you ask yourself, this one has an exponent, this one doesn't have an exponent. Okay, anyway, so this one's geometric, this one's arithmetic. And the geometric ones use a different formula. They require 3 things. Geometrics, you need term 1, you need R, and you need N. And I spent quite a bit of time on Wednesday deriving that formula for you, which you don't need to ever do again because now we have it, which is great. But can you guys tell that 5 is not term 1? What is 5? Term 0. Okay, guys, shh. I'm going to get real tired of this. So thinking about the equations, if it's written in terms of term 0, you have a plain letter here. The number in front's term 0. If it's written in term 1, it's n minus 1 in the exponent, and the number in front is term 1. Okay, so how do I get term 1? I plug 1 into the equation. So remember, the equation is a calculator. It gets you anything that you want. I want term 1, I plug in 1. Okay, R is the multiplier, and that is 2. You can tell because it's the base of the exponent. And then this is a little bit spicy. What is n? And the answer is not 15. What is n? And the answer is not 15. Yes. It's not 10. That's not for this.
12,
Mm,
0. 1, 2,
I'll just wait. Do you even know what n is?
letter. No.
Okay, we might be going back alphabetical order when you guys get back. If you're not able to retain information over from day to day, we might have to lock back in. So what is n?
5.
The amount of terms. Okay. How many terms are there in this problem? 16. Thank you for the one person who said 16. Thank you. Why is there 16? Because it starts at 0. Yeah. So there's 15 numbers between 1 and 15, but then you have to include the 0. Nope. Okay. Formula goes. Sum equals first term times r to the n minus first term over r minus 1. That's the formula that we derived yesterday. Derived. Yes, I think that's the past tense of derived. Now, on this one, I remember telling you guys that if you're going to type this in one fell swoop, you need to put parentheses. However, I don't need to worry about this one. Do you guys, can you, yeah. The bottom's 1, so I really only need to figure out the top, which is 655,350. Okay. B. B is arithmetic. I can tell because there's no exponent in my equation. And arithmetics, they require n, the first term, and the last term, which in this case is going to be term 179. Can you guys tell that the last term is going to be term 179 from this problem? What? Well, there's actually 179 in this one because we're starting at 1. See the difference? There's 16 numbers between 0 and 15. Yeah, top. Okay, so n is 179. So there's 179 numbers between 1 and 179. The first term is 16 minus 4 times 1 minus 1, which is 16. And then, which by the way, if you're really, really tuned into the lesson, you could have seen that it was 16 immediately because of the way that this equation's written. And then 16 minus 4 times 179 minus 1, which is probably a really big number, I'm thinking. Well, it's got 4 times 178 in it. Really small number, yeah. Really big value, really small number. Okay, so if you remember, the sum formula for arithmetics is the Gauss formula, which is sum equals n over 2, first term plus last term. Yeah, I know, I know. You had stuff. You definitely were thinking things. Good things were being thought. And this one you can type in one fell swoop. 179 over 2, 16 minus 696. All right, you guys write the next two. D's got a Q in it, so it can't be bad. I know somebody named Q. He's Japanese. He's also a genius. And his name is Q, which is super cool. Okay. C, arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. How can you tell? It's going up 4 each time, right? Okay. Arithmetics need 3 things. They need n. They need the first term, which in this case is 4. And they need the last term, which is 392. Oh, why did I write T of n there instead of T of what it is? We don't know how many there are because of the dot, dot, dot. That's the twist I was telling you about with this problem, is you have to figure out what n is. Whenever you get stuck, whenever you're missing a piece, my advice is always to go to the equation. Go to the equation, go to the equation, equation. Okay, now on this one, I think it's easy enough to find term 0. So I'm going to go like this, plus 4, 0. Oh, look, term 0 is 0 for once. It's not weird. It happens. So the equation is T of n equals 4n plus 0. Do you need to put the plus 0? No, but I like it. Helps me remember what things go in what spots. Okay, now, question. What number do I need to know which spot it's in? What number do I need to know which spot it's in? 392. And then you're thinking to yourself, if you're anything like me, you're thinking to yourself, well, I didn't even really have to do that because it's 2 spots back from 400, Mrs. Talbot. You could have just done that in your head. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. All right. So oh, sorry. There we go. Sum equals n over 2 first term plus last term. One fell swoop. $19,404. Okay, D. Arithmetic or geometric? Nope. Geometrics have exponents. Okay, maybe this would help your brain. Wait for it. Okay, arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. Because those look like mx plus b. So without the plus b, it might have been confusing. Okay, I did that with erasable pen so I could. Okay, with arithmetic, you need 3 things. You always need 3 things, but you need specific 3 things. N equals. Okay, how many numbers are there between 1 and 312? 312. Okay. What is the first term? I don't know, but I could plug in 1. 11 times, just plug in 1. 11 times 1 plus 0, if you want to think about it like that. Okay, now I need the last term, which is term what? 312. Okay. Sum equals n over 2 first term plus last term. One fell swoop. $537,108. Maybe that's Mr. Hanks' amount of trip. I don't even know. I don't have one stuffed Hank in here, do I? We don't even need to talk about how many stuffed Hanks I have at home. Do you guys know like what Flat Stanley is?
Yeah.
I have a small Hank that's basically my Flat Stanley, and I take pictures of him everywhere. Like everywhere. It's and then when I go visit my parents and I take a picture of it, my parents are like, "Do you take that thing with you everywhere?" And I'm like, "Come on, guys. My life is fun." My parents, I'm gonna be 50 this year. They're still giving me the business like I'm a kid. All right, now we are done with anything that would be considered easy. That was it. That was all the easy stuff. I know. I know. Okay. E and 95 it's gonna happen. It just, I hope you brought your extra brain modules. Plug them in now. Yeah. Okay. Next question. E, arithmetic or geometric?
Geometric.
Okay. you're sitting there doing a problem like this, you're not sure, you can't tell. What I would do would be I would go 10/8 minus 10/4, and then I would go 10/4 minus 5. Are those two the same distance apart? No. Okay, so it can't be arithmetic. Okay, so it has to be geometric. Now, this is one of those where I told you guys it might not be easy to determine what the multiplier is. I can tell because I'm a trained, whatever, trained series analyzer. I can tell that the multiplier is 1/2. Okay, the reason is because the tens on the top are staying the same and the bottoms are multiplying by 2. However, let's pretend that you can't tell from looking at it. I gave you guys a life hack. I said, if you can't tell by looking at it, take the second term divided by the first term. Second term divided by the first term is 1/2. If you don't want to use the calculator, you can go 10/4, keep, change, flip. One half. But I just go, the tops are all 10, the bottoms are doubling 1/2. But any which way that you like it. So first term, geometrics require 3 things. First term, multiplier, and n. And this is where the problem comes in. This is what's going to make this problem really spicy. So I'm going to ask you to lock in at this moment because now we're going to do the spice. Okay. So what do I tell you to do whenever you're missing a piece or get stuck? Equation. Always go to the equation. And in this problem, I can pretty easily figure out what term 0 is. I can tell this is multiplying by 1/2 from all of my research. And then if I go backwards, I can tell that the 0 term would be 10. Everybody good? Okay, so my equation would be T of n equals 10 times 1/2 to the n. Okay, which term am I interested in seeing what spot it's in? Let me just notice my arrow from the previous. Yep, 10 over big number. And now, squirrel in the tree. Let me remind you of chapter 7. Yeah. Okay, but we have to divide by 10 first. And interestingly enough, the 10s cancel out, but let me pretend that that didn't happen and just show you. Normally I would go to a decimal here because you're going to log anyway. However, take a look at what this does. So 10 divided by 4096 divided by 10. That's really gross. Okay, what I want to remind you all of is the math enter. Okay, math enter changes any decimal on your calculator into a reduced fraction. So instead of writing that horrible thing, we can go like this, and then we'll feel silly because the tens just canceled out on our division. It is. And they're not always this bad, but okay, now I'm going to log both sides. And why would I have to log both sides? What does that do for me? Mm-hmm. Exponent goes in the front. And if you know that, you can write that in that step. You don't have to write it twice. Okay, now as terrible as this is, every single one of these problems should come out with a positive whole number. Because if you're solving for n, that's a spot it's in every single time. So if you do something wrong in your calculations, you can tell. Doesn't matter. Only matters if you hit the sine or cosine or tangent buttons. So like, remember when you guys were doing like those problems with the solving for A and I told you it was a whole number and you're like doing the test or quiz and you're like, moment of truth, is it a whole number? That's your moment of truth right there. Okay, so n is 12. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't even do what the problem asked for. It asked for the sum. Sum for geometric is first term times r to the n minus first term over r minus 1. And this time I am going to type it in one swoop with parentheses in both spots. Oh, I logged twice. No, that's not right. Okay, now I'm going to ask you, you're not going to, and it's not your fault. It's just like, I'm going to ask you to remember that this came out really weird and is super close to 10. And I'm going to ask you to remember that a week and a half from now. I'm going to say, hey, remember that time when I was standing there in my cute teal sweatshirt looking all cash? And I said, hey, can you remember that one problem where it was like really close to 10? You know, you're not gonna remember. You're gonna be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But a girl can try. Okay. 10. Really close to 10. Yeah. You're not gonna though. It's not your fault. You're gonna have all kinds of adventures between now and then. Okay, last problem. 95, and notice the amount of room. Might remember it. I don't know. You'll remember it once I bring the story back up. I was like, remember that time when I was, and you're like, oh yeah, close to 10. Why do I care? Then I'll tell you why you care. You got this. You have this. Okay, last one of the day. I don't know if it's spicier than E or the same level. You tell me when we're done. Okay, first, arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic, great. You can tell because the equation is mx plus b style. Okay, and I'm not going to list out the things they gave me. It's telling me to solve for n. I have two formulas at my disposal. I have the sum formula and the equation. They already gave me the equation, so my only option is the sum formula. Okay, sum equals, let's just write it down. It really helps with this problem. Also, I'm trying to get you to remember these, although I have to tell you that on the quizzes, these are printed at the top of the page, both sum formulas. Okay. All right, let's plug in what we have. This capital S means sum, by the way. 3429 equals. N is what we're solving for because it's got the question mark. First term is 12. Okay. Last term. It's the equation. Is it? Just wait till you decide if that's fine. Oh, yeah, no, that's not fun. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make these little arrows here so I can tell what I did. Okay, does that make sense? I just combined the 12 and -9 to 3. Okay, now normally if these were both even numbers, I would divide them by 2, but I don't want to do that because I'm going to make them decimals. So instead, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the denominator. Okay, 3,429 times 2 is 6858. Okay, distribute. Just let the gravity of it hit you. Yep. Okay, there's a catch. These are all factorable, but I don't even want to try to figure out the diamonds. The numbers are so bad, I'm not even interested in box and diamond here. Again, they're all factorable. Not gonna do it. I'm not even gonna try to do it. I'm just gonna go straight to quad formula with my calculator. What? It has to be a whole positive whole number, yeah. Okay. So n equals -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so here's the thing. When I ask you to do this on a quiz, I will give you this formula. I will give you the quad formula and a calculator. There's no way that you can go no calculator with this. It's not possible. So I wouldn't expect it. Yeah, I'm giving you the quad formula. I'm giving you the sum formula and a calculator. All of those things. Okay, anyway, so remember how I was talking about the moment of truth? When you type this in the top, this is your moment of truth. It should come out to be a positive whole number. If you did something wrong in the problem, then it won't be. Okay, then there's something else too. It has to, because think about what you're at solving for. You're solving for n, which is the number of spots, right? So if it doesn't come out to a positive whole number ever on any of these problems, you did something wrong. Okay. All right, now there's one more thing I wanted to say before we're done, and we're almost done. I know, after all that. Yeah, exactly. So these will have extraneous solutions. There's only one correct answer. You can tell this one's not because it's negative and it's a decimal. So it's very easy to tell. And here's the thing. I don't even expect you to do the other one. Like, what I mean is, you, you know that only one of the answers is gonna be correct. We didn't really need to show any of this. Because you have to get a positive whole number. Now, for me, I'm a nerd, so I'll spit it out. Just, you don't need to do the minus. And I am finally done. Yep. Yes. Okay, he's currently in the bathroom and has been in the bathroom for quite some time. Yeah. Anyway, I'll send him down. Okay, thank you. Bye. Yes, honey. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna forget all of this by the time we get back.